I stumbled one day on a government report in the library. And the government report showed figures representing the income and expenditures of American households. The bottom fifth of households was reporting spending 2.5 times what they earned. Now, there was a little footnote. These people are either living off future income or savings. And I thought, not so. The people I talk to don't have savings or future income, right? But nobody had bothered to ask the question of how the poor were actually surviving. In the early 1990s, welfare was called AFDC, Aid to Families with Dependent Children. In the average state, it paid about $365 a month. If you worked, the government took away $1 for about every $1 you earned. It was a system in which you were damned if you did and damned if you didn't. You couldn't survive on your welfare because, of course, no one can live on $365 a month. So we wanted to build a national portrait of how low-income single mothers were surviving both on welfare and, for those who weren't getting welfare, on low-wage employment. What we decided to do is go to 4 cities that represented sort of the range of conditions welfare recipients and low-wage working single moms were living in across the country. And once we got that mom, we conducted a series of in-depth interviews with her. Moms were spending $800, but they were only bringing in about $350, $60 a month from welfare. So where was the rest of that money coming from? The popular notion of the welfare mother was someone who was sitting on her butt watching soap operas, eating steak and caviar and wearing a mink coat while she sponged off the government. And what was ironic about making ends meet is we found that the main way welfare moms were surviving was by working. They were also getting money from networks, especially absent fathers and boyfriends, often under the table. And they were also getting help from a vast array of nonprofit groups. In any given city, there's an infrastructure of these groups that aim to help the poor, and what they do is really valuable. But mainly, they worked. So believe it or not, combining welfare with employment the way these folks were doing was illegal. But in 1997, we made it legal. We changed welfare to a program called TANF, Temporary Assistance to Needy Families. We time limited it. The rolls dropped dramatically. We've only got about 1 million adults now on the rolls. But we added a series of tax credits that essentially paid you what you would have gotten in welfare for working. It made it possible for millions of American single moms to go to work and actually live on their wages plus their tax credits. So the EITC, which is the name of the largest of these tax credits, has been called stealth welfare. Up until recently, no one had ever heard of this program, yet we were spending $50 billion on it, and it was improving the lives of 25 million American households. Up until a certain point, the more you work and the more you earn, the more you get from the government. So it's work promoting. So from $13,000 till about $17,000, a mom with 2 kids will claim the maximum EITC. That'll put her just about at the poverty line. After that, the EITC declines so gradually that the effect on her tax refund will be almost imperceptible. There's not a big disincentive to work more or to earn more in what's called the phase-out rate. And indeed, it benefits so many people in its tail just a little bit that many people experience the benefits of the EITC, and it almost appears as a universal program. It occurred to me that it would be a really good idea to sort of revisit this question of how the poor were faring, especially since the social safety net had been so dramatically transformed. Because over the last 15 years, we've almost taken all of our social safety net and reorganized it around supporting work, leaving folks who can't work without much of anything to hold on to. We found only about 500,000 households living on less than $2 per person per day in the year just prior to welfare reform. But today, we have about 1.5 million adults and roughly 3 million children. 3 million children at any given time in this country living on virtually no income. When we invented the modern EITC in the mid-1990s, we had a different economy than we have now, right? If anything, things for the poor, for the unskilled, have gotten worse and not better, and the minimum wage has not kept pace with inflation. Men's wages have just completely tanked since the 1970s, and we really haven't done anything meaningful to address it. We've got to do something to help not just women, but men. Therefore, programs that raise the minimum wage or expand the EITC to folks who don't have official custody of children, but may well be paying a significant portion of their income in child support. All of those people need to be incorporated into our citizenry. And all of those people need to feel like they're part of America.